Okay, so now we want to talk about something that is of utmost importance when you're working with refugees, and that is promoting self-sufficiency. We talked a little bit earlier about the financial assistance that a refugee receives, and you may have noticed that it ends rather quickly. Our system here in the United States is designed purposely with the intent to force refugees to become self-sufficient as quickly as possible. This is a good thing and a bad thing, and you as volunteers can make a very significant difference in the way that this happens, and also in encouraging self-sufficiency in the right and appropriate way. We all know this quote, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime, right? And this is kind of the approach that we want to take. Learning to be self-sufficient is obviously a tremendous part of the refugee experience. They have to learn new cultural practices, a new language, a new economy, a new city, tons of things that are happening all at one time. And it's a difficult process, especially for refugees who come with no education, no work experience, what we would call work experience, no English, no family support. It makes it even more difficult. Refugees have very distinct needs. Let me click ahead here. Oh, let me mention real quick. There's a handout in your folder called Empowering New Americans, which I always forget to mention, so we put it on the slide. Make sure you check that out. We're not necessarily going to go through it right now, but I just want to reference it. Okay, so refugees have very deep and distinct needs as a result of the traumas that they've been through and as a result of the situations that they've come from. And a lot of times this includes deep emotional and psychological needs or problems. And we're not always able to fulfill or even to address some of those deeper emotional needs. And as a result, because we can't fill those needs, instead we try to fill that space with stuff. Okay? We try to give things to refugees, give physical items, because a lot of times we can't address the underlying emotional problems that are taking place. And that just comes out of a spirit of generosity and a spirit of wanting to help. But a lot of times this isn't the appropriate way to do it. Because what refugees really need is to learn how to survive on their own if they're going to be successful here in the United States. They don't need somebody who's going to do everything for them. What they need is a friend who can be there to guide them and to show them the way. And that's what we want to encourage you to really do as a volunteer. Okay, you're not here to be their provider. You're here just to help. Let's talk about a few guidelines. First of all, it's good not to give money or large gifts directly to your international friends. And let me tell you the number one reason why. These people, many of them, they still have family or close friends who are living back in that country that they came from. As soon as you give them money, especially after they first arrive, the first thing they're going to do is send that money back home. Even if they can't pay their rent for that month, even if their kids don't have enough clothing, what they're going to do is they're going to think about those people who are back in the situation that they came from, and they're going to send that money back to them. So if you give them money thinking that they're going to use it for rent, that might not happen. So we encourage you not to give them money directly, okay? Also, communicate with the agency first. Remember that the agency is there. They have a caseworker who is assigned to them, who knows their case, who knows their situation and knows the specific problems that they're facing. So if you see a need or if you have a specific question, please communicate with the agency first, or if you're volunteering through TRM, you communicate with your TRM mentor. Okay? We don't want you to directly address that need yourself in most situations because probably the agency is already working on it. And what happens is that you actually kind of get in their way, unintentionally, of course. But we want to make sure that we're always communicating so that everybody is on the same page and so that we're not duplicating any services. Okay, if there is a valid need, or you think that you're seeing something that maybe the caseworker isn't seeing, which is very possible because caseworkers are extremely busy. They have an overwhelming number of cases assigned to them, okay? They are doing the best that they can, but a lot of times they are overwhelmed. So this is where your help is really needed. So if you see a legitimate need, doesn't mean that you can't address it. If there's a need for a specific item, such as furniture or clothing, we suggest, of course, that you communicate with the agency and even perhaps donate it through the agency to that family. Another problem that we see a lot of times is that The agency is the bad guys because they're telling the refugees all the things that they can't do. And so then the volunteer becomes the good guy because they're saying yes, and they're giving the refugee everything that they ask for. And this really actually doesn't help the refugee family at all, because they need to be able to trust the agency, and they need to be able to go to their caseworker and understand that their caseworker really is helping them. So we encourage you in your role, please support the agency, please support what they're doing, and always communicate with them or with TRM when you see a specific situation going on. Now, you are going to see things that the agency isn't going to see because you're going to be in a different role and capacity than the agency is. The refugee family is going to see you as their friend, whereas their caseworker is their caseworker. So just kind of keep some of those things in mind. And of course, you are not their provider. We encourage you to pray for the family. Pray for other avenues of helping them, but just don't be so quick to give them things all the time. Another way that you can really help these families reach that self-sufficiency is to give them realistic expectations. Okay, if you tell a family, oh, everything's going to be fine, you're going to get a job next week, I'm sure, things will work out, that's not always true. Okay, they need to have a realistic sense of what's going to happen here. Many of them come with unrealistic expectations. They come thinking that they're going to have a house, a car, and a job waiting for them once they get here, and that is absolutely not true. So they need to understand that they're going to have to be determined. They're going to have to start at the bottom and work their way up the social ladder. Okay, you really need to encourage them, if they don't know English, that they need to learn English. It's just part of survival here in the United States. We know many families who still rely on their kids 5 or 10 years later to interpret for them. And this is not a good thing. We want them to be able to live and work and communicate in the society. And so we really encourage you to encourage them to learn English. And also, sometimes they can't wait on their case manager. Sometimes you can encourage them to go out and do things for themselves. Some refugees fall into that dependency mode where they want their caseworker to do everything for them, or they won't make a move until they hear from their caseworker or until their caseworker makes some kind of action. Encourage them that they can do things for themselves, and you can guide them along in that process. All right, so you're going to get another wonderful skit here to kind of demonstrate what kind of relationship you might want to have with your refugee friends.
Knock, knock, knock.
Dorothy, how are you?
Miriam.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
Nice
how
to see you again. I'm so
How's
fine.
your family?
Very fine.
Good. How are your kids?
Just very
Good.
fine.
Your husband?
Fine.
How are you?
Fine.
Oh, I'm so glad
I just
you
wanted
came.
to know, the
Can
group.
Can you come eat?
Well, I can just step inside, but I'm glucose intolerant, and I'm really keeping a low-carb diet, so I really should not eat anything tonight.
Baklava
No
and
baklava,
tea?
no, not right now.
No.
I really I have some good news for you.
Oh, good.
Well, you know the group that adopted your family.
Yes.
We've been talking, and you have 7 children, right?
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. So, and I see in your neighborhood lots of children have bicycles, and though I bet the older boys would like bicycles, wouldn't they?
Oh, yes.
Well, they're very expensive. So we just bought you some, okay? So here they are.
Oh,
Here's
thank
2,
you.
and that's for the second boy and the
thank you.
third boy.
Oh,
There you go. Aren't they great?
thank you, thank you.
Okay. And then the diapers. I mean, what are the 3 youngest in diapers? Oh my goodness, they're so expensive.
Yes, expensive.
So we're just going to buy them for you. Okay? So every month we'll just bring boxes of diapers for you, okay? In all
you.
the right
Shukran.
sizes, okay?
Shukran.
There you go. You will not have to worry a bit about those diapers.
Shukran.
Okay, and then the computers. I bet you probably need a computer. Well, you know what I say? New year, new computer. And I think that my computer's already a year old, and I just want you to have it, okay? So you just take that and share it with your children. They'll be fine. Okay?
Shukran, shukran.
Good, good. Okay, and then
Shukran.
The bus, I looked at a bus schedule and I can't even imagine how anybody figures it out. So for all your upcoming appointments, I'm just going to pick you up, okay? I'm going to put them all on my calendar and I'll just come pick you up,
Shukran.
okay? Isn't that great?
Shukran.
Oh, I feel so powerful. This is so great. How many cups of tea have we had together?
So many cups.
It's so wonderful getting to know you.
Yes.
Well, you know, that group from my church that we've been working with your family, well, we were just thinking that, you know, all of those diapers your children must need.
Yes.
So guess what?
Expensive.
They're so expensive. I
Very
heard
expensive.
that there is a diaper bank.
Bank?
A bank.
Bank for
where
diapers.
we can go and get diapers. Wouldn't
Oh.
that be great?
Together?
Yes, so
I
you
can
can
go?
get diapers,
I can go.
and that way you don't have to buy so many.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you know what else I found
Thank you
out?
so much.
I know that your older boy really wants a bike because he told me he did.
Yeah.
And
yes,
there's this
yes.
place in town called Bikers,
Bikers?
where the children can go and build a bike.
Oh.
They volunteer hours there. They build their own bike,
Oh.
and they can have their own bike.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll take them next Saturday. How about that?
Shukran.
And the
Thank you
computer.
so much. Computer.
I know in America everything is about a computer, isn't it?
Computer. I don't know how to use it.
I bet you don't.
No.
Well, I checked at the library, and
Oh.
every Wednesday night they have classes on using a
Classes?
computer.
Oh,
What if we go next week? We'll go,
Dorothy, you're
and you
always
can learn
trying
to
to
use the
help
computer.
me. I'm so thankful.
Yes. And one of the volunteers, he and his wife collect old computers and they fix them up like new. And we'll give you a computer after you've learned how to use it.
Good.
Won't that be great?
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. And transportation. You know, I know that it's hard for you and I know you don't like to ask me, but we've got to figure out the bus schedule to get to your appointments.
Oh, no problem.
Yes?
I take the bus to the agency.
You do?
Yes, I can show
Oh
you.
my goodness,
I
maybe
can
we
show
can take a
you.
bus ride
That
together.
would be great.
Maybe we could go for chai and take the bus
Oh,
together.
That would be wonderful.
Wouldn't that be nice?